And now, the question that everybody came to the video for.
How much was the house?
Drum roll, please.
How much was it? What's up, YouTube? It's your girl, Kothney-Issa.
It's your boy, Marek.
And today, we're answering the $1 million question. Actually, we're answering a ton of questions today.
Wait, you're just here for the price? Is that really all they want from us?
Well, if that's really all you want to know, you can go ahead and skip to this point in the video.
But I'm willing to bet that we're going to answer some questions in today's Q&A that you didn't even know you had.
So first, we're going to start with a round of
30 questions.
Don't do that. Oh, Lord. So first, we're going to start with a round of 30 different questions that we know a lot of people want to know, but they're too afraid to ask.
And then we're going to flip over into some questions that have come directly from you guys, whether that be here in the YouTube comments, the Instagram comments, or even the DM.
It go down in the DM. It go down.
But before we go any further, make sure you stop and drop a like on this video right now.
Comment one question right now before you watch. A question that you think we'll be too scared to answer.
If we get enough of those, we'll do a part 2 to this video and we'll answer everything you want to know. But you got to leave the comment right now before you watch any further.
And turn that red subscribe button gray. Without further ado, let's get to it. Are you ready?
Ready.
I am. How big is your tiny house?
8.5 feet wide, 13.5 feet high, 24 feet long.
200 square feet. Did you build it yourself?
No. Who was your builder?
Cornerstone Tiny Home. Do you have a real toilet?
We do. Works just like yours. When you poop, does it stink up the entire house?
Depends on who's pooping.
Hers does, mine doesn't. Courtesy flush is a must. How long does it take to build a tiny house?
It took ours about 4 months.
How much does your tiny house weigh?
16,000 pounds.
16,500 pounds. What's the difference between a tiny house and a mobile home?
A mobile home is not on wheels. It can be put on wheels to move, but it is not as easy to move as a tiny house.
Craftsmanship, future rental value. What's the difference between a tiny house and an RV?
An RV is a vehicle. You can't drive a tiny house.
Structure, craftsmanship, weight, flexibility. Do people knock on your door? Sometimes.
Never when I've been here. Do they ask to come in?
Yes.
Do you let them?
Generally, no. Do you let them?
No.
Sometimes, yes. How long have you been in your tiny house?
2 years next month. How many places have you lived in?
2 states, 3 locations. What does it take to move a tiny house?
Woo, it takes a lot.
At least a 1-ton truck, a long day, and a lot of energy.
Have you ever moved it yourself?
Yes. Check this video. What happens when you argue?
We just argue. Then I go to bed until he's ready to go to bed, and then he goes to bed.
Can't get too far.
I'm sick of you! I'm going to bed! Can you put the ladder up, please?
Do you have a real stove?
Yes, we do.
Microwave?
Yep.
Fridge?
Yes. How big is your shower?
3 feet by 3 feet. Do you hit your head in the sleeping loft?
I do not.
Yeah, maybe 3 times in 2 years. Was it hard to downsize?
According to me, no.
Yes. Selling everything in a 4-month window was a second job. Have you ever had a party?
Yes. How many people can fit?
I think the most we had was 17, mainly all children.
About 18 we counted.
Ever had overnight guests?
Yes.
My parents and my sister and brother-in-law and their son.
They slept in our loft and we slept in the storage loft on our couch pillows, and that space is much smaller than our actual loft. Did you finance your home?
Yes. Is it still financed?
No, paid it off. Come on now. Have you seen our video? How much do parking spots cost per month?
$400 to $500, depending on what's included.
At this location, it's $500 a month.
We must have a tiny house though.
The last location we were at was $475.
Can you ever feel the house shake?
Yes.
Yes. When?
During storms.
The very start of the wash cycle.
During high winds.
And during some activities that I won't get into. Alright guys, we hope you enjoyed that first little part of the video. Now this part is the part we get super excited about because this is directly from you guys. All of your questions and our best answers to them. This first one comes from Lori Michelle Taylor. By the way, she has been super supportive.
Yes, girl. Thank you so much for all of the love. We love you.
Yeah, we really appreciate that. How did you finance the home? Where/how did you go about securing land? And how has tiny living impacted the marriage? We financed through a company called Lightstream. They're a division of SunTrust Bank, and we got an actual, it's literally called a tiny house loan, but it basically is like a low interest personal loan. We don't actually own any land. We actually thought that kind of took the mobility factor out of the tiny lifestyle. So we've been at 2 different RV parks, and now we're in, for the first time, we're in a tiny house community.
I don't know that tiny living has impacted our marriage greatly. I would say, I mean, if anything, it's made us closer because we're in a closer space. But there has been no big changes except for arguing over bathroom time.
Yeah. The debt-free journey probably impacted our marriage more so than living in the tiny house.
Yes.
Jensen Sandy from Instagram, I believe, asks, is it hard to keep plumbing from freezing in the winter?
And the only winter we've ever lived through with this tiny house was in Florida, which the winter probably got to like high 20s once
or twice.
Yeah, and all we did for that was just keep our faucets dripping that they wouldn't freeze. But now that we're in Texas, which is still pretty warm weather state, but it gets a little colder than it did in Florida, we will actually what do you call that, insulate our pipes, and also I'm sure we'll still drip our faucets.
Yeah, we are insulated with spray foam insulation on the trailer underneath at the bottom, but there are a few exposed pipes that we'll have to hit with some heat tape. Also, if you're in a cold weather state, skirting helps a lot with the breezes like underneath of the house, so that's helpful. So you can definitely winterize the house for sure. This next question comes from Tommy Boo on Instagram, and he asked, what's your experience with Duval County and tiny home zoning? Duval County is Jacksonville, Florida. That's where we started originally. We haven't really got much into zoning at all. In fact, this is the first tiny house community that we've been in at all. Everything else has been RV parks, like we said before. So we haven't really touched on that at all. But here in this community, it was quite the journey. It was like a 3-year process for the developer here to get this off the ground.
So Tony from YouTube wants to know if we can explain the prep work prior to moving and what supplies we had to get for the pipes. I want to say prep work we had to do, I mean, we do have to pack the house somewhat because you can't drive it down the highway with glassware on the cabinets, on the shelves, but also you have to unhook all the piping from under the house.
Definitely have to cut out the plumbing like she spoke about, have to strap in the appliances, have to destabilize the house, remove the blocks. There's a whole process. We actually did an entire video on this subject and we'll put it right up there for you.
Coco the Lovely from YouTube wants to know, do we plan to live long-term in the tiny house?
This one is tricky because we feel like when we start having kids, we may need more space, but we're really not 100% sure. And then if that was the case, we would step out and we would rent this on Airbnb. But also another consideration is our channel and everything that we bring to YouTube. So we're kind of in the middle. We don't know right now.
Kiki from YouTube had lots of questions, which a lot of them we already answered. But did we design it ourselves? So we did design it with Cornerstone Tiny Homes. There was other people that built it for us, and our design meeting took quite a while. We didn't know what we were getting into when we decided we were going to sit down with them and design this house. Literally from the ground up, it took us like 8 hours.
It was our fault, not theirs.
Yeah,
they did everything right.
We just didn't know what to expect.
Like,
so
we went through every detail, which we really enjoyed because it really allowed us to customize it to our liking.
But we picked the layout, from the layout, the big part, to the very color of the walls, the tiles, the trim, all that. Like, we planned everything that day. SH on YouTube asked several questions, a couple of them that we haven't answered. The requirements for bank financing, insurance for the house, and then does it come furnished?
Yeah, so financing was kind of tough. They actually denied us at first. They said you never had a mortgage. Credit is great, but we've just never seen a loan of this size in your name. And I think at the time we were both around 720, 730. The tiny house loan is basically looked at as like
recreational.
They thought we were trying to like park this in the woods somewhere as a vacation house. It's similar to like a loan for like a boat or a small plane
or an RV
or an RV. And that's where the questions came in. And then once we clarified, it helped us out. We kind of like went back to them and were explaining like the reasons why we've never had a mortgage and kind of like what our financial plan was and, you know, what we were projected to do in terms of like reducing our debt and eliminating it completely and all of these different things. Basically presented like our entire financial plan to these people. And
they said yes.
And they went back and reviewed it and said yes, believe it or not. We had to send in some additional documentation to like prove up everything that we were saying as far as our plans and all the progress that we had made along the way, but they literally turned the decision. So never take no for an answer.
It does not come furnished. But what does that really mean? We bought our washer dryer and this couch and our bed. Yeah. Everything else came in the house.
We have couch, TV, mattress, washer and dryer unit, and an end table next to the couch. We have 5 pieces of furniture.
You're counting that little table over there?
So our insurance is through Lloyd's of London. They're like a specialty insurance group, basically. Like an athlete, like in the NBA, could insure their leg. Like if they break their leg, they have a certain amount like of coverage for that because of all the money they'll miss out on from playing in the NBA. So they do all types of like weird specialty stuff. But you can go to their website to check it out because it's pretty complicated. But some other great companies are Foremost, and I've heard of Foremost and one other one that I can't think of. This next question comes from Tiny Home Insure on Instagram. What do you do about internet? We actually don't have internet. We haven't had it for several years now. We actually use a mobile hotspot to use our laptops, including like uploading our YouTube videos and everything like that. And on the TV, we actually usually watch a lot of YouTube and we'll screencast it from the phone directly to the TV. And
we have regular channels like back in the day when there was no cable.
Yeah, but we actually, surprisingly, the only tiny houses with a 55-inch TV, and we don't even watch that much TV anymore.
Monty Johnson says, how do we fare during a rain/windstorm? Yeah.
The house weighs 16,500 pounds,
okay,
which is nothing compared to your house on a foundation, but it's still a lot of weight, and it doesn't move like you think.
Elena from Instagram wants to know what was the hardest thing about transitioning to a tiny house, and can we take it on trips or moving it? So can we take it like on vacation with us?
Yeah, I would say the hardest part was downsizing, because we were trying to sell everything so fast. We actually got good money for everything, but just like getting rid of everything in 4 months was really like, whew, it was a grind. It's not as movable as like an RV. I mean, you could, there are some tiny houses that like go like crazy, like all over the place with their tiny house, but it's a lot of work to move these, a lot more than an RV. And now, the question that everybody came to the video for.
How much was the house?
Drum roll, please.
How much was it?
Our house, everything included, all the labor, plumbing, electrical, framing, the trailer, appliances, top to bottom, total cost.
Say it already.
$187,000. $
55,000.
Graduate is $55,000.
But that's all we got, guys. Thank you so much for all of the submissions. Make sure you stop and drop a like on this video right now. If there are any questions that we forgot or missed or didn't touch on at all, or you just think we're shying away from something that we're afraid to talk about for some reason, drop those questions down in the comment section below. If we get enough of those, we'll do a part 2 to this video and we will share all of that.
And don't forget to subscribe and hit that post notification bell button so you know exactly when we upload our videos. We love you. See you in the next one.